Good evening, and welcome once again to another edition of Branco Broadcast. I am Bob Branco. Our featured guest tonight is Carol Sexton, and she will be talking for a few moments and then fielding questions. And without further ado, here is Carol Sexton. Hello.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here with you tonight, and I really feel honored and privileged to be doing this interview tonight on Branco Broadcasting. And I guess I should start by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from central Pennsylvania, Lewistown, Pennsylvania. Some of you may be familiar with that town. And I moved to the Philadelphia or Malvern area in 1955. And I attended the Overbrook School for the Blind, and I went there through all my grade school and graduated in 1964. And following my graduation, I attended the University of the Arts. When I first started, it was the Philadelphia Musical Academy, and then it became the Philadelphia College of Performing Arts, and it's now the University of Arts. And I went there for 5 years. And after that, I attended Combs College, which was in Germantown, at the Germantown area at the time. And the school was very well known, and it was a very reputable school at its time. It's no longer in existence. And I took the music therapy program. I did that for 2 years. I did not get certified. So I started to do an internship but did not complete it. Decided that I really didn't want to go that route. So following college, I spent a lot of time teaching piano in my home, and I taught in preschool programs and enjoyed working with children. And I worked with children basically of all ages, and I worked with handicapped children. I worked with older people teaching, and then younger children. And I worked actually with all ages. I also worked with special needs kids, and that was really a neat experience. So I enjoyed it all, and I did quite a lot of singing. I've been into music, and I would like to do more with music as a ministry. I did entertaining, and I also did the music ministry, like in churches. I went to senior centers and retirement communities and sang, and I've appeared on some radio programs, and also I did Al Albert Showcase at the time. Well, it was aired on Channel 6 Philadelphia, and I also worked with Larry Ferrari, who had an early Sunday morning show, and he played the organ. And I had the privilege of working with him several times. And I sang at the Wheeling and did some recording in Tennessee. And I really had hoped, my dream was to appear on the Grand Ole Opry, but it's really hard to get into the music business. And I'm not sure at this point. I think as far as performing, I would just like to be able to do enough to keep me busy, but I wouldn't want to be overwhelmed and overbooked. And I've always been my own booking agent. I've never really, asked anybody to do that. I think you have to be careful when you get into that sort of thing. So, and I'm into a lot of things. I play with the Mid-Atlantic Blind Golfers Association. Been playing golf for a long time. I used to belong to a blind bowlers group, and I'm a member of our local Lions Club, the Paoli Berlin Malvern Lions Club, and I've been a Lion probably maybe 5 or 6 years, just guessing. I don't know if I'm quite right with that, but anyway, that's just a wild guess that I've been a member that many years, for 5 or 6 years. And I'm involved in church activities and just all sorts of things, and getting into all the stuff that I can get into. I'm interested in political things, and I'm interested in doing phone banks, which I've been doing for some years, and have really enjoyed doing that. And so, I guess I just have to be careful never to spread myself too thin. But I would like to get back into the music more, and I would like to get my music out there online. And, I guess that's a little bit of background.
All right. Any questions?
How was Overbrook for you? I mean, I went to Perkins. I don't really know. Like, was it residential? I mean, how do they do it over there? And did you go like K to 12?
I did. Yeah, it was residential then. Now I think it's more of it's residential and day, and because now at Overbrook they have more than just blind students. They have all kinds of disabilities there now.
Right, it's just like Perkins went that route too. So did you have a good experience there overall? I mean,
I would say basically I did. I think we all, I mean, there were times when I felt like, well, it wasn't always the greatest experience, but I think overall it was a good experience, and I think most of us have come to that conclusion that we had a pretty decent experience. And
that's good, yeah.
And it was a good experience for me.
Great. And you said you're in the political arena kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, I'm interested in I go to a lot of our Tea Party meetings, and I've sung at the Tea Party meetings, and this spring I'm going to be singing at the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference up in Harrisburg, and then I'm going to be singing in the Central Pennsylvania Bible Conference in Altoona. I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that these exposures might open some doors for me, and I'm just trying to,
So do you consider yourself conservative? Because you said Tea Party, so you consider yourself conservative?
Yeah, I'm very conservative, yeah.
And who are you looking for in the Republican Party, I'm assuming, if you're going to vote the Republican?
Well, I'm looking for Ted Cruz for president, and I hope he makes it.
Well, that's nice. I'm glad you didn't say Trump.
Oh, my goodness, never.
I think I could actually live with Ted Cruz. I'm pretty independent. I was brought up a Democrat, but I mean, I just say anyone but Trump at this point.
Oh my goodness!
Come on.
Whoa, Trump! I'm telling you, he's got to go. And so many people are really enamored by him, and I don't know what it is about that man that they think he's so wonderful. Because I guess
I can answer that question, Carol. I think what it is that the American population is tired of the establishment politician doing nothing. So that when somebody comes along like Trump or whoever it is that speaks like that, people listen because they seem like the people who are running for office that are non-establishment, whether it's Trump or someone else, really mean what they say, and they want to help the people, and the people want to hear that from these candidates.
Right, and I think they assume that all politicians are the same. But they're not, and they just think, oh well, they're all bad, they're all the same. But not true. You have to watch their record, and I mean, Ted has an excellent record in Texas, and I know that he's going to take Texas, and I think there's several delegates in Texas.
Yeah, there's quite a few, I think, over there.
Yeah, quite a few.
Carol, were you ever appointed as a convention delegate?
No, I never was. I think it would be very interesting to go to one and be a delegate. I think it would be.
Ed Fetus from New Jersey. If you're through, Bob.
Go ahead, Ed.
I have a comment first and then a question.
Sure.
I had the pleasure of meeting Larry Ferrari. I don't know, maybe some 20 years ago. I'm also a musician, but I'm a little bit out of the system because, I'm getting older and it's just too hard to get to these places anymore. And I met him. He came to the Monmouth Organ Society, which I'm not even sure if it exists yet. It was in New Jersey, usually somewhere in Monmouth County.
Right.
And they had some guest artists, people like Larry Ferrari and Raleigh Hudson, who used to work for Yamaha and is all over the country and is now retired and living in Arizona, I think Scottsdale. Mm-hmm. But Larry and I, a lot of people did this with him, play some duets together. He was excellent. He was very good. They had two organs, and he was really good. So I'm sorry. In those days, I couldn't get him. Now I could probably get him online if he's still on. I don't know whether he is or not.
Yeah, I imagine that you could find him on the internet. I'm certain that you could find him probably on YouTube or somewhere.
I mean, you get almost any radio station online if you know how, but I'm not sure. Is he still broadcasting?
Well, Larry Ferrari died.
I'm sorry?
I don't know just when, what year, but he did. He passed away.
He gave it up?
He had been very ill, and yeah, and he got to the point where he just, couldn't work anymore, and then, he passed away.
Oh,
I think it was cancer that he had, but I'm not sure. I think he had cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun. My question actually is, how do you learn your music? I mean, do you use Braille? Oh my goodness, I'm getting all choked up with emotion here. Do you use Braille?
I do, and I had at the time I was in college, there was another gal in college, and she had a lot of music that was transcribed, and she passed it along to me because she was graduating. And then she had a music transcriber who she introduced me to. And in those days, it wasn't so expensive. But now you've got to pay, I don't know, maybe 55 cents a page. And if you're doing a whole score, you know, a big, large piece of music, I mean, it would really cost you a lot to have it transcribed.
Did you get just the words, or did you actually use Braille music notation? I guess is what I'm.
Yes, I had Braille music notation, and I had that for one of my classes, and then I had a lot of my piano music that I got from various places that was already.
I was pretty good at that, but I really didn't want to bother with it. I found it just too ponderous, I guess is the word. By the time you put it all together, and I had a good ear, so with absolute pitch and everything, not like I can just about hear people think.
That's pretty cool.
It was something different, but I did do it. I used to proofread a bit when I was at Perkins for 1 year for the library. I did the Pirates of Penzance and I think Patience, a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan things that they were putting out then. But I'm a little bit rusty now, to say the least. But it's good that you keep up with it. I'm sure it would come back if I set my mind to it, you know.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you. Those are my questions and comments for now.
Yeah, well, hey, they're good questions and good, interesting comments. It's neat that you met Larry, and that's really good. He was a very personable, very nice person.
He is.
I really enjoyed
he was.
with him.
Did you know Raleigh Hudson at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Like I say, he's out of the box now, but he was good too. He traveled all over the country, and I don't know his age. I've also met him. They had some good artists there, and of course, sometimes we would pick people from within our own group that would, do a stint, and this was mostly voluntary. I guess the artists got paid. I'm really not sure, but we were strictly doing it as a labor of love, most of us,
Yeah.
This is Marcy. I want to go back. When you were working with the children that were handicapped,
right?
With their music, how did you work with them? Did you give everybody instruments and?
Yeah, we had rhythm instruments, and I still have them to this day, and they're all beat up. The kids used to love to play rhythm instruments, and I would be at the piano, and then I would do some movement type things. I didn't mention that I took the ORF program, which is ORF Schulwerk, and I belong to an ORF chapter in Philadelphia. It meets at Abington Friends School, and I was fascinated by it because I took it in music therapy, and I love doing movement, and I think kids do too, and it's very, very creative. And so I took all 3 levels of it at Westchester University, did it over 3 summers, and but when I worked with the kids, I always had a teacher's an aide working with me, and would, get out there and interact with the kids. And I wasn't always playing piano. Sometimes I'd use tapes or, music that while I would be, doing movement with them or teaching them little dances. And so they always.
So at one point, did you ever take all of your different things that you do and put it into one rhythm to maybe interact with the kids?
Oh yeah, and sometimes with the ORF, like you would do, you would clap a rhythm and then you would have them clap it back, or you would patch a rhythm, when you do it on your knees or your legs, and
right.
And then they would listen to that, and then they would give it back to you, and you would see basically if they could pick up the rhythm. And then, they could make up their own rhythms, or you just teach them to do the basic beat, which was something that, is, unless they're musical, it's hard maybe for kids to pick up the basic beat. But
right.
A lot of them were pretty good and could do it, and I had some musical kids. And I had some musical piano students as well. I had one student who was she was maybe in her teens, and maybe she was older than that, but she was my best student. And she actually got into playing piano sonatinas, and she was very, very good. And I featured her in my teacher's recital because I didn't have enough students to have a recital. So my teacher said, "Well, bring her to my recital." And so she played, and she did a really good job. And my teacher, complimented me on. She said, "You did a really good job with that student." So Yeah, I don't know whether I'll get back to doing it. I think I'd kind of like to at some point.
And what about when do you write your own stuff, your own music for the church?
Actually, I don't write any music. I've tried, but the words just never come. I get so far, and then I really don't. I don't think that I really have the gift of writing. I just, would like to. If I had, somebody writing songs, I would, sing something that somebody wrote. But I really haven't written any, and I still have some cassette tapes that I recorded that I have not sold, and I know I have several boxes of them, and I have to see where they are. Now we're into the CDs and all that sort of thing, but in those days, way back when, they had cassette tapes. I guess I still to this day like those old cassette recorders.
All that stuff's coming back anyhow.
Yeah.
I mean, the vinyl's coming back, so.
Yeah.
But I think you got a lot there.
Well, I enjoy, doing all the stuff that I do. I would like to get back with kids again. I do. I am helping out in the church nursery from time to time. I like doing that. That's really.
Carol, in the 2009 Consumer Vision, I forgot what month it was, I put an article in it about you, and I know you don't do this anymore, but you could tell us a little about what you did then with the Travel Companion.
Oh, I had an idea that I wanted to start a travel companion business, and it would be if blind or visually impaired people would want someone visual to travel with them if they didn't feel comfortable traveling alone, or maybe not all people do. And I was going to call it, and I don't even forget the name of what I was going to call it, but I was going to try this, travel companions for the blind, and I thought about it, and I had several people get in touch with me, or I don't even know how I made these contacts, but anyway, I did get in touch with several people, and I guess I never did tell them that I gave up the idea. And the only reason why I gave up the idea was because of liabilities, and I thought this might not be a great thing, and so I thought for that reason, and I was advised don't do it because of liabilities, so I kind of gave up the whole idea. But I'm sure that I think there are people that have actually started those kinds of things. I mean, I've heard of a few, and but I've never really followed up too much on them. I mean, I usually have my own travel companion if I'm taking a trip or something. So, but I kind of abandoned that idea of the business. It would have been a lot of work.
Anybody else? Lauren, do you have a question?
Hi, I was muted. No, I don't have any question. I just called to listen to hear everything you had to say, Carol. It sounds very interesting.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, well, I guess we're done, only for the simple reason we have no questions. I think everybody's been fulfilled and satisfied with what you've had to say, and we really appreciate hearing about what you're doing, and thanks for your inspiration and your good knowledge of what you do, and we hope that you continue, keep up the good work with your talents, and we may have you back on the show again, Carol, at some point.
Well, I'd like to, and I should tune in on Monday nights. I should come in here and listen, and by the way, who will be your next guest?
Our next guest is going to be Don Wardlow, a blind baseball announcer.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
He'll be on next Monday at 7 p.m.
How long's he been doing that?
Oh, for decades.
Really? And where's he from?
I think he's originally from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken.
Holy mackerel. That's interesting.
But he'll be on next Monday. You have the phone numbers and the passcodes now, so you can just call in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd love to hear about that. You must have some fascinating people on here. A blind baseball announcer. Now, that's really superb. Now, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he announces that and how he knows what's going on, or does he have a prompter, or...
Well, he'll fill you in on what he does.
Donnie isn't originally from New Jersey, not Connecticut.
New Jersey.
Huh.
Yeah, he's... Okay, because Joni knew him since he was 4 years old. He's from New Jersey, and now he's back in New Jersey.
Huh.
Oh, interesting. Oh, another thing I do...
He could tell you about how he was cued when the game was on, and how he would get assistance from the main broadcaster.
Hey, well, I knew a guy...
Because most people feel that broadcasting a sporting event is visual. For obvious reasons, they feel that way.
Right.
Which makes it more exciting to hear about what a blind person does in that field.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you sit there and you listen to the bat, you can
know where the ball's going.
You can tell if it's an out or what. If you listen to that bat, the bat will talk to you.
You really don't know what direction it's going in, though. You can't say left, right, up, down.
No.
Oh, no.
But the bat does talk to you.
Okay.
I mean,
I hope it talks to me someday. I'd like to hear it talk to me.
I mean, I do have some of that vision, but like I sit behind home behind home plate, and when the ball comes and the batter hits it, I can tell by the crack and when the ball leaves the bat what it is. It's hard to explain it, but
wow, that's cool.
But I can sit next to my friend who's totally sighted, and I can tell him what it's going to be. And we're both following the ball to see what it is. And he goes, "Marcy, you're absolutely right. You should go out there and be the umpire."
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I really can't explain it other than it's the sound, the way it travels.
That's neat. You have to really be keen on.
I mean, I grew up with the sport. You know, we've had season tickets. My whole life.
Wow.
But I don't know, Bob. When we go to the game, I'll have to sit beside you and explain it.
Well,
cool. That is really cool. Yeah.
Sure.
That's neat. All kinds of ways, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Carol, for appearing on the show tonight.
Yeah, one thing else I do, I guess I shouldn't say, but I do it.
So go right ahead. Your show,
I go on Christian single sites, and I've been on them forever.
I've been on the Jewish
Minnesota,
one.
But he doesn't want to relocate, and I don't think he knows what he wants to do, but it's interesting because I go on them, and I find a lot of people, but I find a lot of people that
very strange,
desirable.
Who wants to relocate?
Yeah, I've been doing that forever.
Who did you say wanted to relocate, Carol?
Oh, the person that I wrote to in Minnesota, and I called on the phone, and he said he didn't want to. I don't think he wants to really relocate, and so.
That's how my brother found his second wife, through Jewish singles.
I'm telling you what, I think a lot of people, because when you're older, it's harder, and I think that what I'd like to see is a singles teleconference type thing going.
That would be interesting.
Blind and
there is one.
Singles.
There is one.
There is?
Yes, there's a Skype conference of singles run by a lady from Macedonia named Adriana Prokopenko.
Really? Oh. And they're from all over the country?
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. I need some information on that one. Maybe I can tune into it.
What you want? Why don't I send you her information and you can write to her? She runs about 4, 5, or 6 Facebook groups. She runs Blind Pen Pals. She runs Group for Visually Impaired Singles. She runs Jobs for the Blind. She runs Blind and Sighted Friends and Support. She runs another singles group.
Does she run any that are just sighted singles, or?
No, it's blind and sighted combined or strictly blind.
Okay. But my question
She's going to be a good resource for you, Carol, I think. So why don't I send you her information?
I used to join that pen pal club, and then I dropped it.
What, Blind Pen Pals?
Yeah, I mean, but I was, I guess I had other things in mind, but...
You know how many members there are? Do you know how many members there are in Blind Pen Pals?
All those.
About 2,600.
Wow, that's a lot.
Wow.
That is.
Yep, they're from all over the world.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Which only goes to prove how many blind people are on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm trying to learn it, and I think I'm doing pretty good with it so far.
There are literally thousands of us on Facebook.
Yeah. I'm looking for singles groups on Facebook, and I think there are some.
Well, I just gave you a couple.
It's quite a lot.
It's Group for Visually Impaired Singles.
Okay.
That's a Facebook group.
Okay.
You go to that, and you join it, and you can post all you want.
Wow. Cool. Well, that's cool. Yeah, well, hey, there's so many things out there and so much to do.
Indeed.
And a little time to do it in.
Exactly.
Yep.
But anyway, you have a good evening, and thanks once again for appearing on the show tonight.
Well, I'm so glad I could do it. I found it to be very interesting. And how did Curtis's interview go?
Curtis went fine.
Good. I'll have to tell him to tune in next Monday because he might want to hear this about this blind baseball announcer.
Yes. Spread the word. Tell anybody you'd like. You have our number and our passcode.
Absolutely.
All righty. Thanks again, and this is Bob Branco, and thanks for listening to Branco Broadcast this evening. Take care.
Bye.